guys, welcome back to the greenhouse here. We are doing a little for fun project today, and that is strictly what it is. If you want to learn more about what I'm going to do today, I'm going to direct you to another channel. I'll tell you who that is here in a minute, and they can tell you in a much more precise way how and why they have chose to go with the products that I'm getting ready to go with here today. We are going to try to make some tin clothing. In particular, it's going to be tin pants today. And the reason I'm going to do that, I'm getting ready to start quite an extensive job cutting brush on one of our hills, probably in the next couple of weeks. And I have always heard good things about tin pants for being waterproof, for being tough. Briars can't get through them. They don't cut easy. They don't tear easy. So I'm going to try to make some today. If you want to learn how to make some, this is not an instructional video, okay? This is a video where I'm just trying something. So I'm trying something that someone else I saw on YouTube of how to do. It seemed logical, so we're going to give her a shot. So if you want to learn how to do this and why these products were chosen in particular, you go on over to the Lone Woodman channel. He's a lot smarter than I am, I can already see, and he gives the scientific reasoning behind why he chose these products. Now, if you do decide to do this, and if you watch his video, you will see that this is dangerous. There is a chance of fire, so don't do this in your house. Unless you have a garage that has excellent ventilation, this will burn your house down. You've got to be awful careful. So I've come out into our biggest greenhouse where I have loads of ventilation and air movement, and we're going to do this over an electric stove, not an open flame. There's no open flames anywhere near me. The vapors off of some of these products are dangerous, so I just want to make that clear. Be careful if you decide to do this. So I've always been kind of excited about tin clothing. It's basically waxed clothing, and if you ever watch it, if you have watched a lot of YouTube, you've probably watched Wrangler Star's channel, and he is a big promoter of the Filson brand tin clothing, and it is supposed to be extremely durable. There's one problem with Filson's clothing: it is way overpriced for me. Now, I don't know, it might be worth it to some people, but it's not worth it to me. I just can't justify paying $200 to $300 for a pair of pants. So we're going to try to make our own here today, and I want to show you some of the products that we'll be using, and I'll tell you the amounts that we're going to be using. So probably the most important product we're going to be using is 16 ounces of microcrystalline wax. Okay, we're going to be heating that up in a double boiler. I'll show you here. Okay, we got the first one on there with water in it. We're basically going to break this microcrystalline wax up in this the pot here, and set it down on the water. That prevents any overheating, and it is hot enough to melt the wax, which is all you need, but it's not on the direct heat, and it keeps it from overheating. Now, mind you, this is my first time. I have no idea. This is a complete experiment for me. So I really don't know how this is going to turn out. So we're going to just start, and we'll see what happens. So we'll put our double boiler together here. The water has just started to simmer a little bit, but we want to get this wax started melting here. So we'll just break this up into some small pieces. Okay, so it's already starting to melt just a little bit in there. I was unable to break that up without tearing something up here, so we'll just put her in there, and it might take a little longer, but she'll melt eventually. So we start out with 16 ounces of microcrystalline wax. Now, one thing, the Lone Woodman, he measured his other products out by weight, and I don't know how accurate it is, but I've always heard that you should measure liquids out by volume and dries out by weight. So we're going to vary just a little bit from his channel, and we're going to measure our products out by volume. So the next one is going to be a tongue oil finish. We're going to do 6 ounces of that. 6 ounces of tongue oil finish. Basically, the tongue oil finish has some more drying agents in it and some hardeners in it. So the next product is going to be pure tongue oil. And again, I want to make clear, if you want to learn why we're using these products, you go over to the Lone Woodman's channel. I'll put a link to that video in the description at the bottom of this one, and you can see why and kind of get a little more explanation, okay? So next we're going to do 2 ounces of the pure tongue oil. And then lastly, we're going to do 8 ounces of this mineral spirits. So basically, when we get done here, we're going to have 16 ounces of wax and 16 ounces of other. Okay, so we've got that mixed up. We're going to set it aside here. Got just a few minutes before we mix it together. While this is melting, I've had my my pants in the dryer, so I want them to be super dry whenever I start this. So I'll go get those and I'll be right back. Okay, we got our solution all melted and mixed together, and basically you're just going to paint this on with a brush, and always continually mixing, because some of the varnishes will try to separate. I just set both the container and the boiling water over here off of the burner so that we can keep that warm. So we're just going to start painting this on, and just be extremely liberal with it. You don't want to take any shortcuts. Get it in the seams. Do this in a place where you just really don't care a whole lot about what happens to it. You're going to make a mess. So continually stir that pot. Ain't that on? I'm just going to drown a minute. I got these, just got these pants out of the dryer, so they're still a little bit warm. If there's any excess wax whenever we get done here, then we go back over this with a heat gun here in a minute, and we'll heat that up and further impregnate that material with the wax. So we want to get this really good around the seams and along the edges. You're going to have plenty of wax, so that's not a problem. Okay guys, so now we've got it all waxed up really good there, and it's hung just a second there. And went and got my lunch. Now I've come back. We're going to use a heat gun, and we're going to go over it. There's kind of some light spots and dark spots. Those light spots kind of represent where that didn't get into the fibers as well. So we take this heat gun, we'll go over it and kind of melt it and spread it out a little bit better than just the brush did, and get those spots. So you have to use a heat gun with microcrystalline wax, because hair dryer doesn't get hot enough. So that is one small purchase you may have to make. But if you intend on doing this like I do, probably going to do a jacket this way if this works, it's still well worth the money. So we'll go ahead and start this up and kind of get this wax spread out a little bit better. You don't want to dry it too much, just enough to make it look wet. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to take a little paint scraper and just kind of rake back and forth on the fibers and kind of get those fibers all in line and get that wax spread out as evenly as we can. And then we'll hang them up. Believe it or not, they all have to be hung up, and you want to do that. You don't want to bunch them up because there still is a fire danger there as long as they're trying to cure. And they will need to cure for about 2 to 3 weeks. So we will finish scraping these up, get them hung up, and in 2 to 3 weeks when we need them, hopefully they'll be ready to use. So we'll see how this goes. It's going to be kind of interesting. I've always wanted to try it, and we'll find out. So thank you guys for coming along with me here today. We'll catch up to y'all in the next video.